get this started. Welcome to Challenge Cup Austin. Come on. It's supposed to be Texas here. We can get a little bit more excitement. All right, it is a tremendous pleasure to be back in Texas for Challenge Cup Austin for the second year in a row. We had a tremendous competition last year, and the startups that won here in Austin went on to do very well globally. So hopefully we're going to see some equally strong startups here tonight. For those of you that don't know, 1776 is a global incubator program and seed fund focused on startups that are tackling important challenges in areas like education, healthcare, transportation, smart cities, energy and sustainability, the kinds of categories you're going to see in the competition here tonight. And in addition to the work that we do very intensively every day in our incubator program, we thought it would be really fun to truly scour the globe and see all of the most promising startups and other incubator programs all around the US and internationally that are also tackling these kinds of important challenges. And so we launched the Challenge Cup. You can kind of think of it as a World Cup for startups tackling grand challenges. So we go to 16 cities around the world. If our team looks like they're dragging a little bit towards the end of the evening, it's because we just got back from Nairobi and Bangalore. Had a number of travel adventures along the way. You'll be glad to know I did eventually get out of detention in the Bangalore airport. 8 hours, no food, no water, but I survived. And we do exactly what you're going to see here tonight. So what are you going to see here tonight? You're going to see about 25 companies. They've spent the last 2 days working with our mentors, pitch coaches, in roundtables, spending time with each other, refining down how they talk about their companies, talking about different business model challenges, how they scale, how they grow. And they've been really working on getting that pitch ready for the first round of the competition, which is going to be the 1-minute pitches. So all 25 companies are going to come up in rapid fire order, and they're going to give 1 minute to explain what their business does. Now, here in Austin, when we have a startup that just totally nails one of those 1-minute pitches, how do we respond? All right, let's try that again. How do we respond? All right, there you go. Now, not every startup necessarily is going to nail their pitch. We've seen, I think now, over 800 startups compete in the Challenge Cup over the last 18 months. We've had people literally about to step on stage and throw up and flee the room. We've had people get up on stage, get about 10, 20 seconds into their pitch. Sorry guys, I don't mean to put more pressure on you guys, but literally get up and get 20 seconds into their pitch and just freeze. Really awkward for everyone, right? So things happen, but regardless, these guys have all been spending months, in many cases years, working unbelievably hard, taking big risks to build great startups that really are tackling the kinds of problems that we all hope entrepreneurs care about. And so regardless of the quality of their pitch, how are we going to respond? Yay! There we go. All right, excellent. Good to see it. And it really is important because the more energy you guys as an audience put into it, the more energy they have to deliver their pitch. So you're going to hear 1-minute pitches. Once that wraps up, the judges are going to go off to the secret judging room, which at Capital Factory is literally a secret room, which is pretty cool. And we're going to pick 2 companies in each of the 4 categories, 8 startups total. We're going to come back, give them almost no warning, let them know who each of the 2 finalists are, and then they're going to have to come right up on stage and give a 5-minute pitch. And they'll have 3 minutes for judges to ask them questions, and then we'll repeat. Judges will go off to the secret room, and we'll pick the 1 winner in each of the 4 categories. At that point, 1776 will fly each of those 4 startups to the global finals in May at the Challenge Festival in Washington, D.C., where they will compete against the 15 other startups that won in their category, plus a few wild cards that we'll invite in March when we wrap up the 16 cities. And if they do well there, they will ultimately have the opportunity to win $650,000 in investment from the 1776 seed fund, as well as any number of cool prizes, benefits, and opportunities from our various corporate partners. So, I am now going to hand it over to our wonderful MC for the evening and the overall organizer globally of the Challenge Cup, Andrew Dolan.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Just as Evan said, so again, the Challenge Cup goes to 16 cities around the world, which is a lot. And at the end of the day, that's not something that just 1776 can do on our own. So first and foremost, we have to sort of recognize the fact that it takes a village here. So we've got a number of wonderful partners that make being able to come to Austin now 2 years in a row possible, and also being able to go to Nairobi and Bangalore and Beijing, as we've mentioned. So just to do a quick little shout out to all these wonderful partners who make this a reality. First and foremost, we have these global partners who support us everywhere we go. So the District of Columbia helps us out everywhere we go. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is freeenterprise.com. MedStar Health, Pearson, ECMC, Revolution, NEA, as well as Samsung, a number of whom we actually have some judges who you'll hear more about as we go on tonight. We also can't forget our association partners who are a huge help for us. The American College of Cardiology, also with a judge here this evening, the National Alliance for Public Charter Schools, the American Council on Education, and ITS America. So these are great organizations that, again, support these industries and support these startups that we're finding everywhere we go. So let's give a big round of applause for our partners. Thank you, partners. So nice to see you. So again, here's the main event we've got here. As Evan mentioned, we have dozens of startups here who are ready to go. They've been honing their 60 seconds of magic for about a day and a half. Essentially, how this is going to go, it is rapid fire, one after another. We'll sort of go category by category, starting with education. The one other thing that we need to mention, you will hear, and be aware, startups, when you hit your 60-second mark, there will be a gong. You can hear it rustling around here. Ooh, wow. There it is. Yeah, oh, that was serious. That was a great strike of the gong. Well done. So startups, as soon as you hear that, respect the gong. Leave the stage ready for our next competitor. Sound good? Everybody ready to hear from all these startups? Let's hear it. Okay. Without further ado, we're going to start with education and start with Book Around.
Hello everybody. Book Around is a web application that gives kindergarten through 5th grade learners access to an online digital community. Framed around literacy, students make 20 to 25 second video book recommendations that they share with classmates, schoolmates, as well as other users in the Book Around network. Literacy is a problem in the United States. Only 35% of students who reach the 5th grade are proficient at grade level reading. Technology has failed to solve this problem. A majority of solutions have reproduced archaic strategies like multiple choice assessments as well as book reports that are digitized. Right? These don't motivate students, and unfortunately they don't help students grow. As a former teacher, I've also seen a rise in cyberbullying. Students are not using platforms like Facebook and Twitter respectfully, and we believe it's because they don't have a scaffold in their early elementary years, like Book Around, to explore social networks and understand digital citizenship. I believe that by teaching digital...
There it is. Thank you, Book Around. Next up, let's see, Brighter Horizons. No? Oh, who's?
Learning List.
Learning List, let's go.
Each year, school districts spend more on textbooks and instructional materials than any other thing they purchase. It's an $8 billion market annually. Yet, district warehouses are filled with millions of dollars of unused materials. Why? Because they don't have the time or the staff to review materials more thoroughly before they buy them, and products they purchase fail to live up to publishers' claims. Learning List solves that problem. Like Consumer Reports, Learning List provides independent reviews of K-12 instructional materials. We help educators choose and then use materials more effectively. We have 100 districts serving 1 million students in 3 different states who are paid subscribers to Learning List. Yet we've only scratched the surface of districts, private schools, and charter schools nationwide. Thank you.
Thank you, Learning List. Next up, we have Pen Pal Schools.
This sweatshirt is not a blazer, because Pen Pal Schools is not just a company. We're a global community of students, parents, and teachers connecting from around the world to learn together. And we've grown from the United States to Spain, Afghanistan, China. We have over 60,000 students in 58 countries, and we've done it on a marketing budget of basically zero. How? By providing something that students and teachers love so much that they keep coming back and they tell almost everyone they know about it. We've taken the simple concept of pen pals, brought in innovative technology to make communication simple and easy, and built in an outstanding curriculum to learn foreign languages with native speakers while also discovering other cultures around the world. Give me 5 more minutes, I'll tell you how we beat out over 1,000 companies to be named by Dell as the most innovative startup of the year, why Clinton Global Initiative selected us to help change the world, and how our innovative business model allows poor students around the world to join for free while still being extremely profitable.
Thank you, Pen Pal Schools. Next up, we have CoachTube.
I'm Wade with CoachTube.com. CoachTube is the e-learning marketplace to help aspiring athletes get the best coaching from the top 5% of coaches on demand anywhere in the world, regardless of income or location. Right now, every athlete wants to make the team. He wants to win the game. Right now, every coach wants to do whatever they can to impact as many people as possible. With CoachTube, we solve this problem. Right now, the average parent spends $675 per child per year on youth sports. 1 out of 5 spend over $1,000. There's over 600 million people in the world playing competitive sports. Right now, there's no marketplace for online education for that industry. Give me 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you how we're already making $8,000 a month. We are onboarding 20 new coaches per week for our platform. And we have over 40 strategic partnerships, and we're still in beta. Thanks.
There we go. Thank you, Coach. Next up, Prepify.
Imagine if you could deliver a high-quality, personalized SAT prep course to millions of underserved students for free. And imagine introducing each promising student on a personal basis to a real college recruiter, all as a for-profit business. Prepify is doing this with online test prep that tracks student performance and automatically identifies top candidates. Our adaptive platform tailors our curriculum to each student's strengths and weaknesses, and it's gamified to increase student engagement. We then charge university recruiters for personal introductions to Prepify's top students. Those introductions are valuable because they're based on in-depth metrics that go way deeper than anything that's currently out there, and we only use the best content. That's why we partner with Bell Curves Test Prep, a test prep company from New York that has a proven track record with our target demographic. We've lined up a number of distribution partners, including Teach for America and KIT. If you give me 5 more minutes, I'll tell you more about our interesting customers and why our data is so valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Prepify. Next up, Upswing.
Hi, I'm Morgan with Upswing. Thanks for having me. So $40 billion, that's how much colleges are losing every year to student attrition. Before we hit the scene, every college is spending $2,000 per student per year to support them. The money is spent on brick and mortar learning centers that don't support today's students. We're the modern virtual learning center where students can go to get free one-on-one help online or by phone 24/7. We are also providing analytics and early alerts to administrators so that they know when to intervene. We've taken 10% of North Carolina. That is 35%. That's 35,000 schools who've had 500 plus hours of instruction just this fall. So all of our mid-sales cycle pilots for the spring are the result of referrals from schools that love us. We have a strong advisory team of ex-CFOs of college systems and former college presidents across the country. We're reducing attrition by 10%, and we've moved to Texas to have that impact here. I invite you to learn more. Contact us here, and I'd of course love 5 minutes to tell you all about our progress. Thank you.
Thanks, Upswing. Next up,
Chain Solutions.
By 2018,
there will be more than 1.4 million supply chain jobs available. But the problem is we can't train enough graduates in order to fill them. In fact, when you take every school across America and combine their efforts, they're only producing about 75,000 graduates each year. What we've done at VChain is we've created a rapid workforce training solution for the supply chain that students learn by doing. What we've done is we recently we got a new contract with National American University, which will deploy our technology across 40 campuses. And we've also enrolled over 120 students in the past month in our program. We believe that we're going to change the world of supply chain through education. Thank you.
Thank you, VChain. Next up, Ryder Key.
Hi, everybody. Unfortunately, 73% of students in this country who take the ACT test are not proficient in writing. When they go to college, the remediation success rates are terrifying. We got to do something about this. Unfortunately, this is our current solution of providing feedback to students about their writing, whether in writing or digitally. We need to do something different. Part of the problem is that we don't have a good system for giving kids feedback about their writing, and then, most importantly, we don't have a good system for kids to give feedback to their teachers about their writing feedback. That is, we don't complete the loop. Ryder Key is an online application for teachers and students to give feedback about writing. We worked over the last year with 50 schools, 6,000 students to perfect a system that works. We've graded over 16,000 papers in partnership. We've also learned about the marketplace of selling individually to schools is a hard enough proposition. So we've partnered with other organizations such as Schoology and TutorPoint.
Thank you, Ryder Key. Let's do a big round of applause for all of our education companies. And now, energy. Let's start with Ariba Energy.
I'm Renato Nugi. Our company, Ariba Energy, answers the challenge to alternative energy and curbing pollution and eliminating waste at the same time by using a proven and scalable technology. It's a thermochemical reactor process that converts heat-dried wastewater sludge, which we now call as biosolids, into highly valuable renewable energy products such as synthetic gas, biocrude oil, and biochar. All cities produce biosolids, and it's becoming a problem. The city of Houston alone produces about 50,000 dry tons of biosolids, and it's a problem. If we will process this, we will be able to generate about 2 megawatts of electricity for the synthetic gas alone and produce another 27,000 barrels of crude oil and 14,000 tons of biochar. Biochar will be sold as a high-value fertilizer because of its ability to increase agricultural output by 400% and at the same time reduce pollution because of negative carbon effects on the soil.
Thank you, Ariba. Next up, compost peddlers.
What if we could use our apple cores to grow more vibrant cities? Last year, Americans created 5 million tons of organic waste. And while everyone in this room would rather grow food than landfills, we don't really have a good alternative, and less than 2% of our population currently has access to composting. The compost peddlers are a new type of recycling program that allows you to stop throwing your resources in the trash. Not only do we help our residential and commercial subscribers reduce their waste by up to 80%, we also collect all of our materials using a fleet of cargo bikes and deliver it to a smart grid of urban farms and community gardens so we can keep our operation costs low and grow more rapidly. We currently have 500 paying subscribers and an additional 500 on the waiting list. And the city of Austin recently mandated that all restaurants and businesses in Austin are going to have to start composting in the next 3 years. Bring me back and I'll show you how we're turning waste on its
Thank you, compost peddlers. Next up, energy efficient solutions.
You're probably spending $1,100 a year on your air conditioning and heating costs. That's roughly half of your total electric bill. So we've invented a brand new thermostat that saves customers more money and keeps them more comfortable than any other smart thermostat on the market today. Look, we don't think in terms of temperature alone. We think in terms of your comfort. So, by looking at a combination of many different factors, we can save you more money and keep you more comfortable. So how's that look? We're looking at temperature and humidity and taking a combination and looking at the feels like temperature. So we put you into that hidden comfort region, saving you money. We're also taking outdoor air and bringing it indoors in order to cool the house off whenever possible. That saves you money. We're saving you $55 more per year than the Nest is. We've got distribution partners in place. Give me 5 more minutes and I'll tell you how a comfort window is your thermostat.
Thank you, energy efficient solution. Next up, Lucello Technologies.
Everyone hates to go to and open the fridge and realize that your milk's expired and have to wonder, is it any good? Imagine that the milk label itself is able to harvest light and power a sensor that would allow you to know right off. There's 20 billion square meters of labels printed each year, and none of these harvest light. In order to be able to put a solar cell on a label, it has to be light, it has to be flexible, and it has to be low cost. It pretty much has to look like this. At Lucello, we print solar cells using a solar ink directly on the same material as everyday plastic grocery bags. And although we want to put solar cells everywhere in the world eventually, harvesting just 1/10% of the labels that are manufactured now is a $60 million a year opportunity. We just received a $150K SBIR grant and are working with companies like Coca-Cola, and I'd love to tell you more about our near-term uses.
Thank you, Lucello. Next up, Wetzel Blade.
Hi, I'm Steve Amstel from Wetzel Blade. We're creating a new technology wind turbine blade. There's over 1.2 million wind turbine blades in use around the world. And here in Texas, 40% of your energy can come from wind any given day. There's 2 big problems here though. That fleet of 1.2 million blades, there's no replacements for those. That would be like not being able to buy replacement tires for your car. The other big problem is we can't scale to longer blades. We can't get over 50 meters. After talking with Siemens, GE, and other companies, they need a solution to get the blades bigger, and after talking to all the CEOs of the largest wind farms, they need a replacement blade. We already have traction with Mitsubishi, and we're building blades for them, and I want you to join with me in saving the world from global warming and eliminate the use of fossil fuels. We're Wetzel Blade. Thank you.
Thank you, Wetzel Blade. How about those energy companies? Big round of applause. Next up, our health category, starting with Austin Fitness Rentals.
Hello. So, have you ever been frustrated sitting in traffic driving to the gym, or bailed on the workout because traffic was just too much to deal with? Have you ever bought a treadmill or other piece of fitness equipment and it became a coat rack because it either broke or you got bored with it? Our proven business model addresses the $23 billion fitness equipment and health club industry. Our 6-member team has over 70 years of combined experience in the fitness equipment industry. We provide our concierge fitness rental services to both residential and commercial customers. Currently, or in 2014, we made $134,000. We're projected to do $400,000 this year. And when I come back, I'll let you know how we're going to do over $60 million in 7 years. Thank you.
Yay. Thank you, Austin Fitness Rentals. Next up, Blue Hub Health.
My name is Buzz White, and I killed my wife. Almost. My wife's been battling a chronic illness for a decade now, and we saw a new physician who wanted to start over in her care. She didn't have access to my wife's records, and I couldn't give her what she needed. 3 weeks later, my wife was in the hospital, and I almost lost everything. There's a better way. We created Blue Hub Health to give patients the ability to collect, manage, and share their health information with anybody that they choose. We do this by solving a prolific problem for doctors and hospitals that represents over $5 billion in a total addressable market. In the next 5 minutes, I want to tell you exactly what this means for patients and how we've applied a network growth model with a low-touch sales model to expand this company exponentially beyond the hundreds of users we have today after just 2 weeks of launch.
Thank you, Blue Hub Health. Next up, Cloud9.
Cloud9 creates technology for psychology. Mental illness has become the leading cause of disability worldwide, so we created this amazing application. We licensed this to psychiatrists and hospitals, but patients use this application as well. They can log in and track their emotional and mental states over time so that they can bring about behavior-changing habits. They can also do a self-assessment and determine their exact diagnosis. And then they can also have a live video session with a psychiatrist from the comfort and privacy of their own couch. This ends up being an addressable market for Cloud9 of $68 billion. We've had a successful test of this application with 35 psychiatrists here in Texas, and that has turned into an opportunity for a health system deal worth $1 million for us today. Let me explain more and help us bring peace of mind to the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Cloud9. Next up, Keat Software.
Evening, everyone. I'm John Reed, the founder of Keat Software, and after a personal injury having me looking for help in my recovery, I founded this company. At Keat Software, we build patient engagement tools for physical therapy. We replace paper care plans with a mobile application. Currently, we're handling cervical spinal cord injuries at Johns Hopkins and ACL rehabilitations at Memorial Hermann. We help these hospitals with three key points. We want to improve patient satisfaction, improve patient outcomes, and lower overall costs. From there, we have a $24 billion industry looking for solutions in this space with upcoming changes to Medicare payment and government regulations. We built a turnkey system that's ready to scale. And when we've talked to Kendi Krieger about the details of what they have going on, they're looking at every 15 minutes we can save one of their therapists a week it translates to $1 million on their bottom line. We're looking at saving them 1 to 2 hours per therapist per week. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Big round of applause for all of our health companies. Deep field. Next up, for transportation in cities, we're starting with New Park.
Hello, everyone. I have to warn you up front that I'm the guy who helps the guy or gal give you parking tickets. Now, before you boo me off the stage, understand, I hate paying for parking as much as you do. But I hate the inefficiencies in the parking market even more. In the current US system, there's over 30% of traffic driving around just looking for spaces. That's one of the reasons because 15% of all enforcement is actually not looking for the right vehicles. So these vehicles are the ones who have paid instead of paying correctly. The New Park system is an enterprise-level system used by cities, universities, and private operators. We utilize license plate recognition technology to streamline enforcement, to eliminate physical permits and parking, and to make parking easier to find and pay for. We are cash flow positive. We have 3 installed customers managing over 50,000 spaces, with 4 customers being installed currently. And if you give me 5 more minutes, I'll tell you how Texas Tech made an extra $1.1 million last year using our system. Thank you.
Thank you, New Park. Next up, Share.
Hi, my name is Stephen Garton, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Share. This is one of my credit cards, and with it, it takes me 3 years to earn 1 flight. This is another one of my credit cards. I earn points so I can redeem it for exciting things such as binoculars and Olive Garden gift cards. And in total, it turns out this is a massive problem, I'm not the only one that has. Consumers in the US waste $16 billion in expired credit card reward points. So to fix this, we want to re-engineer the credit card for good. And to do that, we're introducing the first pro-social credit card that enables you to earn 1% cashback donations to charities of your choice. I'd love to share more if I'm given another 5 minutes. Capital One likes to ask, what's in your wallet? I like to ask you all, what's in your heart? Thank you.
Thank you, Cher. Next up, Storm Pins.
Storm Pins is a social networking app for your city that talks about severe weather, breaking news, traffic, and crime. Our mobile app allows users to drop pins on a map, attach pictures, 10 seconds of video, and 2-way chat. We then send that information to the television station where they can, on their green screen, open the pins and show you the location of all the downed trees and power lines, flooded roads, amber alerts, criminals, things like this. We also send that information to police, fire, emergency management so they can actually act on it and help clean up all those downed trees and power lines. Imagine if we had all the location of all those stranded people in Hurricane Sandy. We launched 4 stations this summer, 4 different TV markets. We had 70,000 downloads in 3 months, and we generated $576,000 of revenue for our TV station partners, of which we took a little over $100,000 in rev share. If you vote us to the finals, I'll show you how we're going to kick Twitter out of the weather business.
Thank you, Stormpen. Next up, Think Voting.
Have you ever walked out of the voting booth on election day and not known exactly who or what you just voted on? If you even showed up at all? We just had the lowest voter turnout in 75 years, and get this, it was the most expensive midterm in history, with over $4 billion being spent by campaigns trying to get to you. At a time when we're high on complaints, we're low on solutions, but we've got one. We've created a mobile platform that's going to make it easier for you to participate, while at the same time raising the bar for those that want to represent us. We're literally going to put the power back into your hands. Our platform aggregates scattered information to allow you to easily compare candidates, to see pros and cons of proposed legislation. It will give you reminders and will even guide you to the polling place on election day. We started here in Austin with a successful launch. We're moving to several other major cities and will be nationwide for the presidential election. Stay tuned to learn how we're going to completely disrupt the $16 billion public polling industry and reduce the power of money in politics in the process.
Thank you, Think Voting. Last but not least, WeMap.
Isn't it about time that everyone had a map of their own? One that had way more utility than helping you get from point A to point B? One that enabled you to keep that information from either about the restaurant you saw last week or see where the news was happening as was happening in your city? WeMap not only had that vision, we built the solution to help you do that. WeMap is a mobile solution that helps you have the content that you need, where you want it, when you want it, all displayed on a digital map. In the last 4 months, over 50,000 pinpoints have been created using WeMap. In addition, we're working with 10 partners, including the largest newspaper in France, who are using our solution to stream their content to a live map, hosted on their website, and shared with our community, and paying a monthly fee to do so. If you want to have more information about how WeMap and our unique distribution and user acquisition model will break into a $9 billion local ad market, bring us back for 5 more minutes.
Thank you, WeMap. Let's give an enormous round of applause for all of these entrepreneurs. A remarkably strong field. Unbelievable, Austin. All right. At this point, I'm going to take my little panel of judges here. We're going to sneak away to our secret room. We will do our best to do as fast of some judging as possible. In the meantime, please enjoy the pizza, grab a beverage, and we'll see you soon. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Before we even get going, another huge round of applause for all of the pitches that we heard tonight. We had a great group. And in terms of what's about to happen, so we are about to announce our 2 finalists per category. Each one of these companies is then going to have 5 minutes to give sort of their longer pitch, hear a little bit more about each one of these businesses, and then our panel of judges right here is going to have 3 minutes of Q&A. And as soon as I say these names, that first education company is going. So brace yourselves. All right. Our 2 finalists for education. First up, we have Pen Pal Schools. And we have VChain Solutions. So come on out. Stand right over here next to Ashley. Excellent. And now, where is it? Come on over here, VChain. Yeah, get it. Perfect. All right. And into energy and sustainability, we have Lucello Technologies, as well as Wetzel Blade. For health, we have Blue Hub Health and Heat Software. So both of you come on over, join our winner's circle. Last but not least, for transportation and cities, we have share. And what's in your heart? Grab. Join us over here. As well as storm pins. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our 8 finalists. We're going to start with Pen Pal Schools right now.
All right, well, thank God this is not a cooking competition because I have had James's wings during the college football championship game and they are delicious. So fortunately we're sticking to education tonight. Pen Pal Schools, 25 days ago on January 12th, we finally dropped the Pen Pal Schools beta and launched version 1.0. And in those 25 days, we thought, you know what, we're gonna keep this small. You know, we're launching the new app. We want to make sure it doesn't have too many bugs. No posting on Facebook, no Twitter. We're just going to tell our existing teachers that we got a new app ready. And, you know, we'll test out some things with them. Well, in 25 days, we kind of underestimated the word of mouth amongst those teachers and ended up with all of these teachers across the world in 32 different countries and thousands of students. And fortunately, the app works really well. So, Pen Pals, I mean, who here had a pen pal growing up? Okay, decent number of hands. You know what? You don't see pen pals these days as much as you used to, and it's a real shame because pen pals are wonderful tools to connect people and have those cultural exchanges, but it's just a pain in the butt to do, and teachers don't have time for it today because they're under so much pressure to teach to standards and make sure that kids are learning everything they need to learn. So people go into pen pal exchanges hoping to feel shining and happy and like these kids in this classroom with all the logistical difficulties and the challenges of finding something meaningful to talk about and the stress on teachers to actually pull it off. They wind up feeling a little bit more like that. So that's where Pen Pal Schools comes in. We make everything really simple and easy through state-of-the-art technology, really fun for students, easy for teachers. We do that first through fantastic technology, apps for mobile and for desktop that guide the student through the entire exchange. A teacher could literally sign up and go on maternity leave, and her students would have a fantastic time on our application. Now, many teachers are great teachers and they find ways to integrate this into their classroom, go the extra mile, and we provide tools and teacher professional development resources to help them make the most of it. So the technology is key, and then the curriculum is the second big part. We're not just connecting students to talk about their lives and the weather and how many brothers and sisters they have. We're giving them a really high quality original curriculum with videos, news stories, and discussion questions that enable them to share their personal lives and perspectives on important issues. So students are practicing English in our world news course, English speakers around the world, discussing poverty with students in India, the environment with students in Africa, war and conflict with students in Syria happening right now. They're also practicing foreign languages, Spanish with pen pals in Ecuador or Spain, Chinese with a pen pal in Beijing, or French with a pen pal in Paris or West Africa. All these really high quality courses designed by our team, combined with the technology to make it happen. So speaking of our team, you know, it's small, but it's extremely talented. One of these guys you might recognize, Mark Danforth from Book Around up here, competed tonight. Fantastic company, also a fantastic curriculum developer for us. One of multiple teachers we have on staff to make sure that everything we're doing is aligned to what teachers really want. We've got the curriculum, teacher support, and marketing to go along with it. So I did promise you a peek into our revenue model. It's very innovative and unique and actually super effective. We use a pay what you want model, so teachers can literally pay anything they want to sign up for our program. Now, this is great for those teachers in Latin America and Africa and even here in the US that don't have much money at all. They pay 5 cents, or you know what, oftentimes they pay nothing at all to join us, and we are happy to have them. They provide fantastic perspectives, really eye-opening for our students back home. They bring a lot more value than just dollars. The teachers back home, they pay. And they paid at a really high rate, more than we ever even hoped, because one, we provide a product that's worth paying for. It's very high quality. They expect to pay for it. And two, they want to support their colleagues around the world that can't afford to pay, so they fund us so that we can provide it to them for free. So when I said we're not just a product and company, we're a community, that even comes into our finance model, where teachers funding their colleagues in our global community. Now, when a teacher signs up, they sign up an average of 50 students. They pay an average of 44 cents per student, and then with our additional mobile app, there's another additional revenue that comes from that stream. So that class of 50 students will be worth about $32 to us. Just 6 weeks later, because teachers like us so much, 88% of them are coming back, 68% of them refer another teacher, and so that class is going to grow. Let me just say, nothing
It's
at all.
Q&A time. Yeah. Oh yeah, excellent. All right, judges.
Well, maybe you could roll back to that previous slide and I could ask a question. So what is that?
Which one, this one or this one?
That one. So what does that translate to into a total addressable market? So if you, with your current pay-as-you-go model, with the kinds of conversions you're seeing, what could this business be worth in terms of revenue run rate?
Well, it could be worth a whole lot. Problem is it's a moving target. When we started, even just a few months ago, we started just with middle school and high school, and we had students in elementary school and even down as young as 1st and 2nd grade that were doing our program for middle school. And I said, well, what are you doing? Your kids are way too young, this isn't appropriate. And they said, you know what, we don't care, we want these international connections, we're signing up anyway. So we were forced to build something for those young kids. Then we had university students lining up and signing up to learn foreign languages. And so we had to build things for them. So our market is expanding from all the way down to the youngest kids, all the way up through university level. And this past week, we actually just opened up our app to adults, for adults that want to learn foreign languages. You're going to go on a business trip to China, you're going to want to learn and brush up on your Chinese, and you're not going to get very far without understanding Chinese culture a bit before you get there. So the total addressable market keeps on growing and growing to the point where we're now talking about hundreds of millions of people, and I've stopped worrying about total addressable market, and I just focus on building the best possible product that we can. So I don't have a good answer for you. I just know that it's very large, and if we keep up conversions anything where they are, we've recently launched the Pay What You Want, so the data's early. If those numbers hold up, then it's going to be, we didn't get into this for the money, but others seem to want to be getting in for the money because it's starting to look astoundingly promising.
Do you have any colleges or universities who have signed up?
No, we haven't actually launched courses for universities. Sorry, we do. A lot of them are in Japan, strangely enough. For some reason, a bunch of Japanese universities signed up for this. We haven't marketed or grown with universities here because everything is based in K-12, but we are working with St. Edward's nearby here in Austin and beginning to discuss some things with UT to actually build courses appropriate for the college level, which also means flexible curriculum input for professors. Their courses are a bit more specific, so if a professor is teaching a course on human trafficking, for example, that professor can upload content about human trafficking, their lectures, their content, and then we'll connect them with a class in Cambodia or somewhere around the world where that's a major issue and let them connect and have their students get some real feedback on that.
How have you managed to, what's the process through which you connect pen pals to each other? Is that automated, or do you guys have to do it yourselves?
It's pretty well automated. And I will just say that we're working with all these fantastic organizations because they help us grow, they believe in our social mission, and we are really changing the world beyond just cultural awareness and literacy. We're doing this. You can finish. I can finish.
Yeah, well, yeah.
After the gong?
Well, in this particular case, go ahead.
All right. So we're working, we believe at Pen Pal Schools, we're not doing it for the money, even though the money is starting to do very well for us. We do it because we believe that meaningful cultural exchange should be a part of every student's education, and that's why we make it Pay What You Want. Through that, we not only promote cultural awareness and literacy, which we originally set out to promote, but our students are talking about all these other issues, and it's having ramifications beyond what we ever dreamed. And it's amazing to see what can happen when students around the world come together to share their lives and experiences.
Are you a 501c6? Are you?
No, we're a for-profit company, and we're for-profit. We don't want to rely on government sponsorship, government grants, corporate sponsorships. We want to be sustainable on our own revenue, and we can do that so that we can make an awesome product that's worth paying for.
Thanks, it's amazing.
Thank you.
No more questions. All right, get over here. Well done, Pen Pal. Next up, we have V-Chain Solutions. And click to the right. One more.
I'm going to start by saying that there's a big, huge problem with the number of supply chain jobs that are growing. It's growing at an alarming rate of 200,000 jobs, new jobs being introduced, being demanded each year, but we can't supply enough of them in the educational industry. When you take every school across America, we're only producing 75,000 graduates each year. So by 2018, we're predicting that the demand will be as high as 1.4 million jobs available. So skills shortage, that's what we're here to solve. The way we're going to solve that is using a new technology called V-Chain Proactive. This is the world's first rapid workforce training solution for the supply chain. What that means is that you can now learn by doing. You get to do hands-on training in supply chain. We offer it for high schools, we offer it for universities, as well as corporations. What we teach is the entire order-to-cash process from the perspective of a buyer and a planner. The students will learn how to introduce the product to the system, they'll learn how to move the product throughout the system, and ultimately to the end customer. While they're doing that, we measure the metrics on how well they perform under various types of conditions. We introduce catastrophic disruptions into their playing simulation so that we can understand how they will behave under certain types of conditions. So the market opportunity is over $80 billion for educational market. That's including colleges and universities all the way through to corporations. We fit in all three spaces, and what we found is that we've started doing test markets with each of these, and we're getting positive results from every organization that we enter with. This year, we've already signed a major contract with National American University to deploy across 40 campuses. We also have enrolled 120 students from 4 high schools. Today, we signed a deal to move forward with the Texas Academy in San Antonio, so our first outside of Austin school as well. And we're signing a deal that's going to put us in Mexico with a company called Macrolinks. So our go-to-market strategy is we're teaming up with partners. We want to get with partners that are teaching partners as well as educational partners as well as developmental partners to help develop new user roles as we roll out the technology. The way we make money is, so far we've validated that at the high school level, we've been able to get, at charter high schools, $1,000 per student. At the public high school level, we've been able to get as little as $300 per student. For universities, we get $2,500 per student to go through the program. And the program is only a 24-hour program. So in 24 hours, we will rapidly train you on supply chain, run you through simulations, and then quantify the results at the end to show so that you can go into employers and understand how you perform under different conditions. Our traction, we've got a number of schools. I've already mentioned a number of these that are coming on board. We're starting to realize that in terms of education, we can sell this like candy. What we're finding is that we have to work with some schools, though, to make it affordable, and we've got a foundation that we're forming that's going to help augment those schools that are underperforming schools financially. We've got a 3 million plus sales pipeline. We've got 36 campuses that we're going to be rolling out to at National American University. Our team consists of Barb Brewis, which is my co-founder. We also have Guy McNeil, for those that may know. Guy McNeil is the guy that's famed for making TurboTax a household name. And this week we also recently signed with the Vice President of Freescale, who's going to be coming on our board of directors. This is our team, and this is V-Chain Solutions. Open the door for questions now.
Judges. We're working it out. And yeah.
Great presentation, thanks. We're interested in the solutions that you're doing right now. You're focusing on the supply chain management. Do you anticipate as you move forward to look at other verticals and expand?
Absolutely. There's several ways we're doing about the vertical expansion. We're starting with buyers and planners as the user roles that we're training for. So we're going to add new user roles to eventually we're touching every type of user that has some play in the supply chain throughout a company. So we'll expand on that front, and we're also exploring, because we've been getting asked by other organizations, can this be helped in like law enforcement or in other legal areas? When it comes to simulations, we've got a model that allows us to train and rapidly train people remotely from our control center. We have a control center on the other side of town, as well as a sales office here in the Capital Factory.
I noticed that you're in Mexico also. Do you already have the program in Spanish, or do you anticipate putting it in other languages?
No, the company that we're partnering with, Macrolinks, they're going to be doing the translations for us. They've got a staff already lined up to do a full-blown translation to Mexico. I did mention that we're also in talks with bringing the program into Spain and India as well.
Great.
So there's a lot of university research around supply chain management at some of the top universities in the United States. So that curriculum broadly exists today. You've talked a lot about how powerful the simulations are, and so I'd love to hear more about the role of technology as a differentiator and a barrier to entry for your company.
Yeah, the role of technology is definitely proven to be a more valuable way of training than just traditional high school learning. When you got students that are sitting in a classroom, they often get bored and they don't really understand holistically what happens when they make decisions. What we do is we throw them into the software, and we allow them to fail and learn by failing. So we introduce things that everyday problems that you would run across, we condense them so that you are put under a certain amount of pressure. And that pressure that we're creating is meant to simulate, this is the op tempo of a company, because when I used to work for Motorola, and I was responsible for 5,000 products that I managed. And when you got 5,000 products, there's something going wrong with something somewhere in the world all the time. So we train the students to deal with that. I tell them, we train them to be proactive, and that's allowing them to detect problems before they disrupt the business and figure out who the stakeholders are so that they can make informed decisions and solve those problems.
Who are your competitors?
We've been looking hard at that, and right now we can't find anyone that's offering supply chain hands-on experience. The closest fit we found is an old school MIT production called The Beer Game. The Beer Game is a board game type supply chain, but that really doesn't teach students about real activities and the activity op tempo for that.
Thank you, VChain Solutions. All right, for energy, next up, we have a Lucello.
All right, my name is Taylor Harvey, and I'm co-founder of Lucello Technologies. And as I said before, we make lightweight, ultra-flexible, low-cost solar cells. And we do this using a solar paint. And our solar paint, it's non-toxic, and it's highly stable, unlike some of the other printed solutions for solar cells out there. Now, the solar industry is a little bit scorched earth right now, and so whenever we bring this out, the first thing people think about and kind of picture in their minds is these acres of solar, fields that are just not really the market that we're going after. So it's important to remember that we're looking at the things and use cases that only flexible, lightweight solar can do, because that's where we can compete best. Now, the use cases even here are limitless. You can have solar umbrellas, you can cover UAVs, you can put this, make solar cell phone chargers. And what we found is, as everyone knows, it's pretty much death for a startup to try to go too broad and do too many things. And as part of a Lean Launchpad program run by the NSF Corps, we did over 114 customer interviews, and we found a spot that we can make revenue quickly and that we can enter with the lowest technical barriers. And it's maybe a little less sexy than all these other things, but it's new, and it's definitely something that solar's never done before. And that's to integrate directly on labels. Now, the advertisers we talked to about this think that this would be the most wonderful thing they've ever heard of. It's another way that they can generate power and and then put little gadgets on their labels and be able to attract your and my attention as we go through the stores. But it's even more than that. Like I talked about earlier, you could also run sensors of these so that we could have expiration dates that are dynamic on our food. We could do things such as that would really change consumers' life also in the long term. Now, this allows us to develop and generate a revenue stream early on and get to our real goal, which is to provide power into remote areas using things like solar tarps. This uses the same technology, just developed a little bit farther along. And these tarps, while they're available right now, they're available at about 10 to 20 times what we will be able to produce. So this solar tarp, for instance, is about $5,000 to $10,000. And that makes it so that there's one customer, the military. And there's a lot of need for these things. Solar panels themselves are getting more inexpensive, but getting them to places is still very expensive, especially if it's in remote areas of the world. And so a lightweight tarp that was also affordable would make a huge difference in remote hospitals and refugees camps and all over the world. Now we're able to do this. So our total market size, the printed label industry is enormous. And as I said, it's 20 billion square meters printed every year. And if we could cover just 1% of that, it would be about a $6 billion opportunity. Now we're working directly with some printed label companies. And so we have a target market initially to basically cover 1% of their labels, and that's where the $200 million number. Off-grid solar is also very large, about $8 billion. And of that, about 800 million is this lightweight, flexible stuff, and we're looking to capture about 30% of that for a total market share of 440. Now, we're able to do this because we're able to do all three things. We're able to be flexible, we're lightweight, we're about 50 times lighter than a normal silicon panel, but we're also able to do it at a low cost. And so right now, there's other competitors that have lightweight solar, but they're approaching and they're not able to reach the nexus, this middle spot that will allow this to go to lots of different places. So our business model is, our biggest risk right now is actually technical development. And so we are using the grant money that we receive from the NSF to de-risk that as fast as we can. Now, unlike other solar technologies, we don't need really high efficiencies, which is the other thing that people think of when they think of solar, is that we can reach those same cost metrics as silicon solar panels with a much lower cost. And we can also do this with a much lower capital expense. And so we're able to leverage our partners and that are print companies and directly integrate in their existing lines and keep our capital costs down. So right now both my co-founder and I are both PhDs, but Aaron has a great business background also, and we're surrounded ourselves by a strong board of advisory board with both technical and business pros. And then last, we have our SBIR funding, and then a lot of business interest and support. Thank you.
There you go. All right. Take it away, judges.
So have you patented the technology yet?
The technology was developed during my PhD here at the University of Texas, but we have licenses worked out with the university.
Great. And I guess, can you disclose anything about why you guys have the special sauce, or is that just in the patent?
It's basically the way that we formulate the paint, we're able to keep the costs down and get enough efficiency out of it with low processing costs. We literally spray this with a hobby, well, at least initially we sprayed it with a hobby paint gun. So.
And what's your plan for manufacturing it? Is that difficult?
Our plan for manufacturing, it should be very easy. It basically just uses a simple coater that is pretty standard in the print industry. And so we want to establish a small pilot line to do development, and then we'll look for contract manufacturing outside of it.
Not fair, but I'll ask a question. Your efficiency today is what?
We are at 1%.
And what can you get to?
And we need to get to 3%, and that is well within our developmental milestones. Like, we should be able to get there very easily.
And explain why to people in the audience who know that panels are
18%.
Or 18% efficient. So most of the money that goes into a panel is in processing costs, and by removing all that large capital equipment, we can keep the costs down. And basically, all efficiency as a measure is how much area that you have to cover to get a certain amount of power out. And so if you can cover more area for cheaper, you can still get the same power output.
So kind of a basic question. You have two different parts that you're focusing on, sort of the print advertising way that you can elicit,
Yeah.
and then you also have sort of...
So basically, the print advertising way is a way that they need 3% efficiency on a smaller scale, and we need about 4% efficiency on a little bit larger scale. And using the same processing, the same techniques and everything. So it's a way for us to get our foot in the door, get early revenue as we develop our technology, and then it will open up these new markets such as the solar tarps for us.
And so that's the big end goal is then...
The big end goal is to put power everywhere. Like basically anything that you can't plug in, we want to have you be able to still have power on it. And that's where we want to go. But we gotta take it bite-sized chunks at a time.
We used you last night for placement.
Are there materials to which your paint will not adhere?
Not that we have found right now. So basically we can do any plastics, we can put it on paper, and we can obviously do rigid things like glass. So I haven't tried like Teflon or things like that though, so maybe it would come off Teflon. I don't know, nothing sexy.
So when I think about solar applications, I think about a greener planet. When you're talking about putting this across lots of consumer devices or consumer products that might be recycled, how do you think about contributing to the overall carbon footprint? What's the net effect?
I think the net effect, especially with our initial markets, is definitely going to be low as far as that. But I think broader term, like as prices continue to drop and we're able to build this out, we'll be able to compete with those bigger things and get this into the hands of people that are not able to get to silicon solar panels.
Thank you so much. Next up, Wetzel Blade.
To the right. Hi, I'm Steve with Wetzel Blade. Here's an embodiment of a 110-meter wind turbine blade, and this is the future of the industry. Our technology is enabling the past, present, and future of wind turbines so that we can get away from burning fossil fuels for electricity. Our leadership, our founder, Dr. Wetzel, invented the 1.5 megawatt GE turbine, which is the workhorse of our industry. There's over 15,000 of those worldwide. Our team also has engineered over 40 blades for different OEMs across the world, and we have 60 clients throughout the wind turbine industry. So we've got deep expertise in this field. We're disrupting this whole entire space. Existing wind turbine blades are built like propellers. They're kind of a solid surfaced product. We're building it like a airplane wing. As you can see, the little elements and spars. And this is going to change the whole entire market. It's lighter, stronger, and increased reliability. This is a huge technology shift for the industry. And after talking to people at Siemens and Northern Power and other OEMs about this product, this is exactly what they need. We're going to be able to add power to old farms. We're going to be able to ship this product on standard trucks. So you're not going to see these huge trucks running down the highway like you normally do. We're going to go to market first as a replacement blade. There are no current replacement blades for this market. It's an $8 billion a year market by 2019, and there's about 5,000 blades backlogged right now that we could build. And going to market that way de-risks it. Most people who have tried to go to market with a product like this run up against the wall of trying to go to the OEMs. We'll go to the wind farms first, and then we'll second go to the OEMs. That's a $15 billion a year market, and we've already had deep discussions with Siemens, Northern Power, Vestas, Doosan, and Gamesa. And Siemens is very interested in us. We're excited about that. This will allow us to ship blades in pieces instead of in one single unit like you see here. We'll lower transportation costs by 97% for these wind turbine blades, and we'll be able to enable 5 megawatt onshore turbines. That's not possible to do today. Current revenue, we have $60K on a small phase 1 project with Mitsubishi that will be expanding, and we already have the first 2 demo sets which will be built in August and September spoken for. We also have Department of Energy support for testing, and in operation, if we had another $1 million right now, we'd be able to accelerate these builds. What we're here to do is to really eliminate fossil fuels, to get away from burning these for energy. This is our team, and again, I want to point out the deep expertise we have. My co-founder, Kyle Wetzel, has designed these blades across the market. Gary Canopy, our director of sales, has built several factories and drove wind sales at Knight and Carver and MFG. And myself, this is my second Austin Technology Incubator company. So what we're really looking for you to do is to join with us in eliminating this need for coal and gas in our electrical chain, in our electrical supply chain. So thank you so much, and I'd like to take questions now.
Steve, why is the space for replacement blades a big market? Why are GE, Investus, and others, are they not making blades? And why is this an opportunity?
GE, Investus, and Siemens have stopped making their legacy blades. It takes about 10 years before a legacy blade needs a replacement, 10 to 20 years. So they actually crushed that equipment. We got a notice last week or two that GE had stopped building their 45-meter blade. And in discussions with Siemens Wind Engineering and Siemens Venture Capital, both mentioned us as a potential source for replacement blades. The cost of capital is too high, and they'd rather somebody come back and buy a bigger turbine from them than service those older 15-year-old models.
What's your plan for manufacturing the blades?
We're going to manufacture the blades initially here in Round Rock, Texas. We're using a very capital-efficient model. We use about 5% of the capital that a big factory would use. So we can build this 34-meter blade we're starting in a 22,000 square foot space we have up there.
And can you retrofit old factories of any kind to produce it, or do you need all new equipment?
No, we don't need new equipment. It's actually a fairly simple process. We're building ribs and spars, so it's just a laminating process. There's a large factory in Rockdale that we're looking at, and also Pflugerville has some very interesting incentives for us there as well.
Great, thanks.
Just for anybody from the state of Texas, we're also entertaining Minnesota, Michigan, and Louisiana.
Who are your competitors in this space?
Our competitors in this space are MFG, TPI, and LM. But what they'll offer to do is scan in a blade, they'll laser scan it, and then they'll reverse engineer it and build you a set of $5 million molds. So, you know, conceivably your first blade would be $5,110,000. So the NRE is so high to do it traditional way, it just doesn't work.
And then how does your cost structure compare?
It's really sweet. We see a gross margin of 54 to 58% on the blade, and we're beating them by quite a bit because we're using 34% less material, and at second phase we're automating the manufacturing of all the smaller parts so we can eliminate a lot of the labor and a lot of the quality issues on phase 2. Well, I got 23 seconds. Thank you so much.
Stumped him.
Thank you so much for letting me pitch. We're really excited about our company and the difference it's going to make in the wind industry.
Thank you so much. Come on up, Dr. Blaine. All right, right into health with Blue Hub Health. Click to the right.
Hello, I'm Buzz. We've met. I have a problem. This is my wife, Jen. She's not my problem. Her chronic illness is, though. You heard my story. I almost lost this lovely piece of inspiration right here about 2 years ago. And my whole world came crashing down on me. And it was all because I couldn't give her medical record to the physician who needed it at the time that she needed it. And the industry's not smart enough to do that for the physician either. So we really dug in to see what the problem really was. We've spent $22 billion on building health information exchanges when at maximum capacity capture 13% of the market. But we realized that data moves through the system today. through the release of information process, a really risky, time-intensive, and costly activity for providers. It requires a phone call, a fax, 2 more phone calls, then somebody's got to pay something, then finally the record will be printed or burned onto a CD and physically mailed to the person requesting it. And it's a huge problem. And the biggest risk, the HIPAA Omnibus Rule points out, specifically the release of information, is where you will see the $1.5 million fines levied. So we knew there was a better way, and that's when we came up with Blue Hub Health, and we created our product, My Blue Hub. At its core, My Blue Hub gives patients the power to collect, manage, and share their health information. But you can't monetize patients. So we dug in deeper and we said we can fix this problem for the physician and the hospital and the provider as well. We take away the risk of identity vetting. We do all the billing. We do all the payment. We eliminate the time and the effort, and we give them a simple, guaranteed, secure platform to deliver a record to a requester. And here's how it works. Anybody can request a record on our system. And you can request it from anybody, whether they are on our system or not, and that's the brilliance of our model. Physicians using our system have all of their requests come into one place in one simple mechanism through which they can comply with every single one of them. But if they're not on our system and the requester is, we can still send them the facts that they need. And we can give them one touch, one warm introduction. That's where patients and health plans and life insurance companies become our lead generators to our practitioner users. When the request comes through, sometimes the physician wants to bill for it. Sometimes they want to bill the health plan or the life insurance company. Unfortunately, sometimes they want to bill the patient. We go out and collect the money and we pay the physician. On average, this is about $25 per transaction. We usually keep 20 to 30% of that, and we pay the physician the rest. So they don't pay us, we pay them to use our platform. Here's what sets us apart. We save every record that comes through our system. As a patient, imagine logging in and like Ancestry.com, seeing what information is already available to you and finding out how you can get the rest of your information. The physicians alone represent a $2.6 billion annual market opportunity for us. We add in the clearinghouse model where we can go in and help payment clearinghouses request information, and that doubles this market for us. Let's play a game where we imagine the future of healthcare together. As a patient, never fill out that clipboard at the physician office again. As a provider, have access to your patient's longitudinal health record at any point in time. And in the industry, build an application on the most robust patient-centric data layer in the market. We have a few competitors, but we do it better. We are disrupting an industry that sends people to offices and is a total nuisance on the system. Our team consists of experts in the industry for over 10 years. Our chief medical officer just the other week was named by Karen DeSalvo to the ONC's Health IT and Policy Committee, and we're very proud of him. Our advisors have seen this problem from every angle and have helped us tackle every element of the operational issue we face. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
All right, judges, what do we got?
So, can you go back to your competitor slide? So, these are some pretty big companies. I love what you say about the clipboard. I just filled out one this morning.
He said he just filled out one this morning.
Why are you better? Okay, you're better. Why are you better? What are you doing to make it better?
So instead of just completing the transaction and sending somebody to your office and pulling all your requests and using your resources, charging you an arm and a leg, and then collecting the revenue, we're giving you the power to take control over the process and generate revenue for yourself. Our main differentiator between everybody on this is we keep every document and we give it to the patient.
because that's the only way in healthcare to truly build a longitudinal patient record to share with every future provider. That's how we will improve quality and reduce costs in health.
So Google Health does not do that?
Google Health does not exist anymore. Google Health relied on difficult to pull off, heavy, expensive integrations with EHR systems that ultimately were the demise of Google Health. Same with Microsoft Health Vault, but they've sunk a few more dollars into it because I don't think Microsoft is as smart as Google. Is that on record?
Sorry, Microsoft.
So let me make sure I understand. You're really functioning as a data repository.
That's correct, Dr. May.
So that if I saw your wife this morning, until that record gets uploaded by request, it's not there.
That's correct. So we do expect up to about a 15-day delay, and that would affect somebody bouncing around from provider to provider immediately. But what we do is our platform allows providers to request from other providers. In those instances, physicians treat that as a same-day request. So our system can support same-day requests and urgent requests to try and cut that time down.
So talk a little bit about traction to date. How are you sort of validating that this model works?
Sure.
And how are things taking off?
So we've bootstrapped this company to MVP. We've just released version 1.0 last week. We rolled out to 2 provider practices who helped us design the system, and we have over 200 patients using the system today. We are rolling out slowly to our provider practices. We've got a number of practices in the pipeline. We've got a large laboratory facility in the pipeline, and we've got a clearinghouse in the pipeline. When I say in the pipeline, I don't mean we've sent them an email and we're hoping to hear back. I mean, we've got paperwork in place. We're rolling out slowly to make sure that the system works perfectly. This is healthcare information. The most critical element for us is the patient. I do not want to do anything to risk the patient's data. So we are taking it slowly, but we expect in the next 3 months to be at over 10,000 users.
And are you primarily marketing to the doctor, or are you marketing to the patient?
We're marketing to the doctor. We spend about 10% of our time marketing to the patient and working with organizations like Livestrong or American Diabetes Association to really reach those critical patients, but our time is spent marketing to our customers.
Thank you very much, Blue Hub. Next up, Heat Software.
Evening, everyone. So, Pete, we are a patient engagement platform for physical therapy. And having gone through, I was in a motorcycle crash. At that time, I was building out training applications for professional athletes. And one of the investors is this hotshot surgeon out of Duke. He does all of these surgeries for the Carolina Hurricanes. He does my shoulder surgery. I go to his facility. It's a tier 1 facility. I go to the physical therapy portion of it, and they hand me this. And this is supposed to drive every part of my healing when I'm not in the office. And this is essentially the problem, is that as soon as you lose that sheet of paper, your home compliance goes down to 0, which is where the majority of your healing is supposed to take place. So it's pretty easy to understand. When you're a patient, you get prescribed to do 2 of these workouts, these home treatments a day. How many people in this room are currently working out twice a day? How many people in this room would rather, I don't know, watch their favorite show or eat dinner with their family than do a physical therapy routine? There you go. And this is sort of the issue. The non-compliance is huge. We knew that. That was easy. I built out the system for myself. But then we found out that therapists are facing all sorts of issues as well. Basically for them, they're highly trained individuals. They're going through what is in essence, at the end of their day, several hours of data entry work. We want to eliminate that. So we solve these problems with this HIPAA compliant platform. Basically, it's a success system for patients. It reminds you to do your exercises when it's convenient to you. It walks you through them in a video-based format. It captures your feedback, and then it shares how often you are doing or are not doing your exercises, not only with your therapist, but also with your family members or caretakers. So for therapists, yeah, that's when people start having issues with the compliance, we say, just put your mom on it.
So for therapists, we allow them to build out very complex, outcome-driven therapy programs, complete with all the forms, all the surveys, all the exercises, in just a few clicks. From there, they go in and they can customize that to each patient, right in front of the patient, including taking videos of the patient, taking photos of them doing the exercise, instead of doing it at the end of the day where they can't bill for it. So we put a lot of time and effort into this, and we got some great functionality that just doesn't exist in the marketplace today. And the leading providers in the space are agreeing with us. We have the Kennedy Krieger Institute. We're doing spinal cord injuries for them. For them, their big issue is customizing these care plans for patients. They actually do, individual patients get their own complete exercise program. It's all done with photos and videos of the patient itself. Big win for them when they can do it right in front of them instead of having to take it from the camera to the computer to the PowerPoint presentation. And then the Ironman clinic, they're focused on basically that communication between the surgeon, the therapist, and the patient. So you have this very well-established ACL protocol. We want it to be a functional-based protocol instead of just a timeline. So you're going to have outcome measures at different parts of this. Are you able to raise your knee up all the way? What's your range of motion? These types of factors come into your the healing process, so you're not just at 2 weeks moving on to the next phase if you're not ready for that. That's a big thing that we're developing there. Turns out we can save these places a lot of money. There's in any one of these situations, we can go in and we can really, in effect, save these two big chunks of the day. One is the documentation of this. We have a process where we document what's going on in the clinic. We automate that. And then two, when they're actually building out these treatment plans. So in any given therapist day, you're looking at 1 to 3 hours spent doing these two activities. Turns out a lot of people are doing physical therapy or know someone who has. I'm sure people in this room today know someone or probably are going through a physical therapy experience themselves. There's a lot of people. This continues to grow in year after year. There's right now that paper that I just threw down on the floor is really the leading solution. And finally, how we're expanding this is we are taking these two Tier 1 institutions and we're going after the physical therapy clinics and their geographies that support these hospitals, with the idea that once we gain the critical mass in those geographies, we roll it up to the payers and start the discussions with the payers in those areas. Thank you.
Judges?
So I have a question for you.
Absolutely.
I've had to do physical therapy for my ACL, and then also for chronic runner's knee.
Mm-hmm.
My question though is, it seemed to me throughout that process that the physical therapists were content with the paper because they kind of wanted me to be doing my physical therapy there. How does your solution address that issue?
So at individual physical therapy practices, that is a lot of times the case, the small mom and pops. But less so now with the changes in basically outcome-driven reimbursements and sort of per event reimbursements that are happening on these greater clinical levels at the hospital. So when I look at when you're a hospital and you get a allotment for a specific treatment, they really want they want to maximize that allotment. So the longer you have to take in your therapy, the worse it is for them. Now, part of that process, they also have to keep you satisfied. If your satisfaction goes down, that affects their overall return on that. So the really sweet spot is giving you something cool that you enjoy using, that empowers you to do what you're supposed to be doing at home, and then give them the tools to offload a lot of that work onto you, thereby saving that.
So can you help explain, I think it's great to do that, it shows the videos, but does it also have a way to tie into wearable technologies where you can get sort of data on actually doing it, so I just go and put a bunch of that I did it and I didn't?
Absolutely, and right now, the focus for us now is just, we want to stay ubiquitous for everyone has a computer, everyone has a cell phone, not everyone has a wearable device, but every part of the system we built open. So we can take information into it, we can port information out of it. I was talking to Buzz over at Blue Hub about exactly this. We go through a lot of the same issues that he's tackling and tackle them ourselves on the documentation side. So we're really all about integrating into this space, finding providers that do things that, quite frankly, do things better than us. And so wearable technology is absolutely a direction that we're moving in. It's just a question really of when it becomes either ubiquitous in the consumer market or there's a need at the hospital level to do that.
Thank you all very much for your time. There you go. Thank you. And entering into the cities category, we have Share.
Thank you. So to start here, actually, let me jump in with the audience. Can I get a show of hands? How many people here have a credit card, at least one? I get the lights in my face. All right, I take it a lot of you. Keep your hand raised, actually, if you donated to charity within the past year, any dollar amount. Awesome, great. Look, what we're doing is merging the two of those ubiquitous actions that happen every year for consumers together. To give you a size of the market, there are over 180 million credit card holders in the United States. And in total, those consumers earn $48 billion a year in their credit card reward points. And as I alluded to in the 1-minute pitch, a third of that, or $16 billion, is expired every year. And we see a way to repurpose this. And on the other side of the equation, individuals in the United States are incredibly philanthropic. Over 60% of individuals in the US give to charity every year, and they support and care about multiple charities. I want to tell you a little bit why we're radically better and why we're radically different. So here's what's existed really since the 80s in the market, this concept of affinity credit cards. And for the really large organizations like Susan G. Komen or Stand Up to Cancer, some of them have partnered with banks and they have their own credit card. And that's terrific, those are great organizations. But what matters is the personal connection. Because many of the local nonprofits that you care about, you can't support through this vehicle. Me, for example, my father passed away from cancer, and he was treated at Johns Hopkins Hospital. That's something that I care a lot about. And so I want to be able to use this card and contribute to what matters most to me. Another reason why we're radically better, these cards that are on the market are only throwing off approximately 0.2% to 0.3% to charity every year. Our model supports 1% in cashback, tax-deductible donations to the charities. We've taken this idea of the credit card, but we've also really rethought the whole spending experience. And for us, it means making the most engaging way to give as possible. We're also layering projects on top of it. For example, a great organization that we're partnering with is the World Food Program. And for a quarter, because they're feeding so many kids on scale, they can feed a child. So you could wait around, like if you're like me, average millennial, with the amount of money you're spending, and take you 3 years to earn one flight. Or with this card, you could feed over 30 children in 1 month. Really impactful. There's really a paradigm shift that's going on in financial services, and we see that with millennials especially. But again, in total, consumers are putting $2.2 trillion a year on credit cards. From a business model perspective, again, we've really honed in on what I am as a millennial, and that's that there are 40.5 million millennials that are both actively philanthropic and also use credit cards. And something you might be wondering is, how do we make money and how does it flow back to the charities? So we make money the same way that Southwest Airlines makes money, J.Crew, Nordstrom's, all of these credit card programs. We get paid by the bank for each new account we open because we're helping to funnel in a new account. But what's very different about our model is we're actually funneling the royalty back to the charities. A separate piece comes to us as a company, and we actually underwrite all of the nonprofit processing fees so that 100% of what you earn actually goes to the charities that you care about. Looking at this market of millennials, they fundamentally think and buy differently. And I mean, even related for yourself, think of consumer brands that people evangelize, but nobody walks around wearing Bank of America t-shirts or Capital One bumper stickers. We're testing out a variety of marketing channels, actually starting over the next 2 weeks as we do our initial launch. We're really excited about that. And we're pitching at South by Southwest Interactive at their Social Good Summit next month. We've also partnered with the leader in the space, and that's called Network for Good. They're based in DC, and that's the same organization that Amazon uses with their Amazon Smile program. From a team perspective, we've got some great people helping out, which I'm really excited about. Focusing on marketing analytics, technology side, proven leaders that have built scalable technology solutions in the nonprofit space. And one of our key advisors has a ton of internet marketing credit card experience. He sold his previous company, Bill Me Later, to PayPal for $1 billion. And he's now the chairman of the board for Network for Good. He's just an absolute rock star in this intersection of financial services and philanthropy. Thank you very much.
Judges.
So do you have a partnership with Visa or MasterCard that you're going to pilot, or are you going to have to seek adoption by vendors individually?
Yeah, sure. So we're under NDA with a handful of banks and networks right now, but we are partnering with a bank and a network. So in theory, a Bank of America and a Visa, which allows us to get off the ground immediately, just like any of these traditional co-branded credit card programs. That's the beauty of our model, that we generate revenue immediately, and it's a very understood business model.
Excellent.
Can cardholders donate to any charity, or do the charities have to opt in? And do you plan to go to market through those charities or through the cardholders themselves?
Sure. So we'll split it into 2 buckets. One, cardholders can pick any registered 501c3, so any nonprofit in the United States. That also includes religious organizations, and it also includes schools. Even if you wanted to contribute to your child's elementary school, something of that sort. We see a true value in giving consumers choice so they can contribute to what's most personally relevant to them. In terms of distribution, we looked at a lot of different models of partnering with nonprofits, and we do not feel like that will scale effectively. So that's not our main distribution platform.
What do you see on the engagement side? So if it's a feel-good play and you want to see that spiral, how do you effectively get to the market?
Yeah, I think so. I can answer it at a high level, and then we can go more direct. If you look at what existing credit card companies are doing, if they think about lead gen and acquisition, if they're doing it for their own house programs like Chase, Sapphire, their own credit cards. It's an arms race, right? They're spending so much money to sponsor the Super Bowl, run billboard ads, driving up the cost of clicks through Google. Or if they want to acquire users, they're gonna partner with a Disney for the Disney credit card, etc. So we have started reaching out to partner with a lot of pro-social companies like the Patagonias of the world, etc., to help drive adoption. We also see a lot of upside in doing it through some interesting social media plays that we're working on right now.
And do the rewards come out monthly or yearly, or how do they?
Yeah, sure. So it's monthly.
What do you see as the market potential for you guys from a revenue standpoint?
2 ways to answer that question. If we just focus on the lead gen of this play, I think in 4 years, just not to what's going to charity, we could put off $40 million in revenue just based on the bounty fees to us, that lead gen fee. But that would also be putting off $50 million a year to charity. I think conceptually you got to look at this with a bigger vision and a play. I eventually want to be offering credit to millennials. We want to become our own bank. We want to be offering financial services. You can look at the success of companies like Simple. You can look at Venmo. You can look at UPromise. So we think we've got a great track record to really blow this thing up and have a huge vision for it. But we're just trying to stay laser focused on getting this initial product to market.
Thanks, Chair. Storm pins, take us home.
All right, thank you. Chris Weldon's founder and CEO of Storm Pins. Before I start, I want to frame something for you to think about while I go through it. Is that Twitter? Let's look at Twitter as a lot of useful information. But as soon as you follow more than 100 people, your stream becomes very busy. During some kind of natural disaster, there's a lot of noise. What we're really doing here is we're making Twitter actionable and on a map and making it relevant to your location instead of people's thoughts and feelings. How can we make it geo-based and let the city not just report what's going on, but actually help solve the problems. The other thing that we do with our TV customers is they're losing the battle to Twitter, right? They're giving away all their breaking news to Twitter for free. We're actually building an in-house product for them to keep that information and monetize it and take back some of the control that social media took away from local media. So we drop those pins on the map, and there's tornadoes, and there's down pins, and or down trees and fire, and you know, anything else we can, I guess, come up with. We have about 8 pins right now: flooded roads, icy conditions, and then we put it on TV with an iPad app. So in 23 milliseconds, you drop it on your phone. It's on your local station. He's touching the pin, showing you what's going on. That's Frank from Houston, actually. We also send that information to the police and fire so they can take action and do things with it. And that's what the police and law enforcement get, right? They can see every downed tree. This is in Jacksonville, Florida, with the tornado outbreak a couple of weeks ago. And we've got every county emergency manager, police, fire. They want to see where those things happen, see how large that tree is. The utility wants to go out and start chopping them up, take load off of their call center, things like that. We also give them admin privileges, unlike Twitter. Basically, if it's not true or it's chopped up and it's not there, we let them take it off. So we're trying to make it a more usable, functional tool and a better way to communicate. So we think really there are a lot of category Twitter killers to be made, right? And we think we're doing that with weather and breaking news to some degree to make it actionable. Our go-to-market strategy is we sell to TV stations and we get paid actually to get their viewers, right? We sell them a product, they make money, we get their city on our app. So our customer acquisition is actually, our costs are actually negative. How do we do that? So this is a little bit busy, but basically by selling to television, they can actually sell a sponsorship against it. Like I mentioned, we sold, and I'll get into that again, about 576,000 of station sponsorship. That if we can sell ads and information as trees hit houses, you can maybe match up Angie's List or beat Google to the punch by not just reporting the problem in the neighborhood, but actually selling them a solution. This becomes a pretty robust kind of revenue model and with a very low cost of entry. And we're also making television 3 times their money, in some cases more, and giving them a product to compete with social media and Twitter, because millennials don't watch local news anymore, right? So we need to give them a reason to kind of pull that back in. So here's some of the stats. I want to spend some time here. So on the top left, you can't see this, but we've had Orlando, the 16th largest DMA, sold storm pins for $216,000 for the year for sponsorship. I think they made 10 times their money off of our product. They sold it in 9 days. It was amazing. And what we're seeing is advertisers and the people in the city really get behind it. They want to be next to the person saying, we're not just reporting the problem, we're solving it. And the advertisers are showing up. On the top right here, we had a tornado outbreak in Jacksonville, which is pretty rare. And we said, are we beating Twitter or Facebook? So we said, tell us how many photos you got from Twitter, Facebook, emails to the TV station, and on storm pins. The numbers are Twitter were 30 tweets sent to them. They have 49,000 Twitter followers. Facebook, 137 photos. They got 137,000 likes. Email, 150. Storm pins beat all 3 combined. So if maybe we have 10,000 people on our app in Jacksonville, and we generated more user-generated content through a very focused app solving a specific problem than their social media accounts, we can actually kick Twitter out of that business and give the power back to TV. And user engagement is also 2 or 3 times longer on the app. In one day in Detroit, Michigan, we had 8,100 people download the app during a thunderstorm and generated 1,234 photos in 48 hours. So there's a lot of engagement, and we're giving TV that power. Okay, so there's that stat again. Small functional team. We think we can scale this by basically industry partnerships and getting out to the top 40 TV stations with a pretty small, tight team. Not listed here are our board members, which was the former president of the Atlantic magazine, who is now, I think, SVP of digital at Time Inc., and the head of digital for Graham Media in DC, which is their TV division. One of the things I want to point out is that what we're really doing is that we have a map full. This is a tough timeline to show. Basically, as a storm rolls through, there's storm damage, but what we can do is take questions now.
Yeah.
So take me back and tell me a little bit about the platform. So the user uploads information about what's going on in their neighborhood. And can they see what else is going on in that neighborhood, or is it given directly to the news station or to the utility company, and they then serve the information back to the community?
That's a key engagement piece that everyone else misses. They're like, send us your photos into a dark black hole and you don't get to see anything, right? What we do is you drop it on a map and you get to see everything else that's posted, and we also have a gallery. We strip all the photos by geography. Our content's 100% geolocated, and like Twitter's like 4%. So we sort the photos closest to you, most recent, and most popular. So there's two ways to consume it. Gallery view, where you can see every photo across the country, and then you can also see just what's around you. If there's a hurricane hitting Miami and you live in Michigan, you can also go see real-time photos of the hurricane damage coming in another part of the country, right? You get to see it all. And that's part of the engagement. That's why they interact with the app for 2 or 3 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, is they're looking at all this content and it's just flowing in. If you just send it to a black hole, they wouldn't pay attention.
So for the users, I mean, I know that there are a number of users who are interested in posting pictures on Twitter or sending the email to the news team. What's the incentive for the user to upload their own photos and essentially hand over their, I don't want to call it artwork because we've all seen those photos before, but what's the incentive for them to give that over, and how do they engage with it?
Well, some of the things that we've accomplished there, and that was a big part of it, is how do you reinforce that behavior, right? Well, one is you're part of something bigger, right? You're actually helping your city. When your photo is selected to go on television, when they put it on the iPad app, we actually, 5 minutes before they go on air, we actually send that user a link. Your photo's been selected to be on TV, and here's a link to their live stream, and then they can tweet it. So there's a little bit of a vanity play. Thanks for sharing. You're helping your community out, right? And if you get selected to go on TV, we also reward you with that. So there is a sense of you're actually helping people by doing it versus just posting it to your friends maybe. And it was a very good point, but the data kind of shows that they're more than willing to share, and they like the reinforcement.
Explain again how the TV station makes 10 times the revenue through your app.
Well, that's because we priced it too cheaply is the real answer. But what we're doing is...
How are they making money?
Sure. So what we do is they use this on television a number of times, right? 6 times a day or whatever, during severe weather, wall-to-wall coverage. There are people in town like Allstate Insurance and other people that want to be on the tip of the conversation when there's severe weather or damage, right? When there's a tree on your house, that's when you're thinking about homeowners insurance. They want to be a part of that. So they're simply part of the conversation. Their logo is on the map. When they're showing it on television, I could try and back up and show you that. The other thing we do is we have an ad for them on the app, right? We put that sponsors there. And then we can also advertise inside the pin, so you could say, here's the problem, and then here's maybe an Angie's List coupon to find a contractor. So we're matching the problem with the solution and the advertisers, and that's how they're doing it.
There we go. Thank you very much, Sergeant Ben. Big round of applause for all of our companies, all of these finalists. And with that, the judges are going to shuffle back to our same mysterious room. Shuffle. Here, get shuffling. And we're going to judge very, very fast and come back and announce winners shortly. Enjoy your last couple slices of pizza. All right, everybody, welcome back. Quiet down for just a little bit so we can announce our winners. Before we get going, I also want to do just a quick shout out to all of our judges that we have here. We have Evan Burfield from 1776, Abigail Selden from ECMC, Sean Duffy from Pearson, Mitch Jacobson from ATI, Dr. David May from the American College of Cardiology, Joe Coyne from Samsung, Rachel Charlesworth from Ride Scout, last year's winner, Day Trong from Awesome Ventures, and last but not least, Michelle Skelding from the Austin Chamber of Commerce. So big round of applause for everybody going on today. Thanks so much. Now, I'm gonna have a couple of my category-specific judges join me up here. Sean, yes, we'll begin with education, and the winner is?
The winner for education is Pen Pal News.
Right this way. Come on up. Yeah, we're gonna come on. As he works his way up, as a reminder, each one of these companies that we announced is going to join us. We're going to fly them to Washington, D.C. in May. They're going to spend a week with us. Lots of accelerator programming, you name it. And not to mention, connecting them with this whole network of 1776 mentors and support. So that was education. Next up for energy. Where are you, Mitch? I cannot see you. Oh, good. Perfect.
Winner for energy, very, very tight race. Lucello Technologies.
Next up for health, Doctor.
Good evening, everybody. From the healthcare sector, the winner is Keat Software.
And for cities, last year's champ. Come on up, Bryce.
And the winner for cities this year is Storm Pins.
Give a big round of applause for all of our winners and all of the stars from tonight. Thanks so much for coming out, everybody. And now I think we're going to take a lot of pictures and mingle. There we go.